Curry had 52 points, including 12 threes, as Golden State held on for a 134-125 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies on Tuesday night. The win allowed Golden State to overtake Memphis for 5th place in the Western Conference standing. Last night was Curry's 15th career game with at least 50 points, tying Damian Lillard for the 6th most in NBA history. It was Curry's second 50-point game this season, joining LeBron James as the only players aged 35 or older with multiple 50-point games in a season. Monica McNutt, great to have you with us.
Hey.
I like the maroon.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Stephen A., are the Warriors going to the finals with this version of Steph Curry?
This version of Steph Curry from last night, yeah, they could get to the finals. I don't see that happening where he'll be able to do that. I don't see them going to the finals, but if that brother plays like that, he dropping 50 on that level of accuracy, there's nothing you could do with the babyface assassin, the greatest shooter God has ever created. He is that dude. Let's not forget the fact that Jimmy Butler had 27 last night, hitting all 12 of his free throws, getting to the free throw line. Once again, this is the kind of stuff that spells for Steph Curry. You don't have to take him out of the game to get him his rest. That's what makes Jimmy Butler so valuable. I'm just looking at the Golden State Warriors, and I see them, and they're a threat, and I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. It's just that when you look at the elite teams, particularly a team like OKC, you can't imagine that even the great Steph Curry is going to be able to do that over the course of a series. They're young, they're athletic, they're just too gifted defensively to let that happen. But if that brother last night showed up throughout a series, there is no one the Golden State Warriors can't beat when Steph Curry is launching like that.
He is, in regular season, 10-5 when he has 50 points, right? So that's an important note. And then the only postseason 50-point performance so far was the Sacramento series last season. It was spectacular to watch. His control, his quickness, just going after Zach Edey, really going after anybody that wanted some. He was fantastic with the basketball. But it's tough for me to isolate that from the 27 points from Butler, like you mentioned. Draymond Green quietly had a triple-double, and they still needed, 46 minutes of this ball game before they really pulled away from this Grizzlies squad. And so I think that version of him gets them confidently to the Western Conference Finals. But again, when you look at OKC and that defense, that's the real deal. I don't think it's going to come that easy because there were definitely some points where you were like, Memphis, what are you doing? That's Steph in terms of their defense. And OKC's not going to make those mistakes.
Well, he was 12 for 20 from 3 last night. I kind of agree with what Stevie said. I don't know if he can do that series after series after series, and he'd have to win 3 to get to the finals. So he'd have to have 12 games. And if he doesn't do that, I don't know if they have enough other offense to be able to overcome that. And again, against a younger team, let's say they play Golden State in the conference final. Golden State's a young team. They got a lot of wear and tear on the Warriors.
Golden State plays Golden State?
Golden State plays Oklahoma City in the conference final.
Okay.
They're an older team. Yeah. They've been around a long time. OKC's a younger team. You wonder if the wear and tear would take a little something out of them. But for a small sample size in a big spot, he's an all-timer. We all know how great he is. Yeah. And they're dangerous. I don't know if they're dangerous enough to win 12 games in the Western Conference.
A couple of things we need to mention here because everybody talks about celebrating the NBA. Last night was a night to celebrate the NBA because
such great games.
It was spectacular. First of all, we just finished talking about Jokic. Denver and Minnesota was an epic game. Just a phenomenal game. We look at Steph last night. Draymond with the triple-double. Jimmy Butler with 27. Steph with 52 and 10. Ja Morant showed up, had 36 points last night, hit 5 threes. He was balling. Memphis gave them a game. They just lost. Now I'm looking at Memphis, however, because this is a team that in the early part of February was a number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Just to let everybody know, while we look at the Warriors, third best team in the NBA with Jimmy Butler in the lineup behind the Celtics and Oklahoma City Thunder. 22-3 record since Jimmy Butler's debut. First in defensive efficiency, first in assist percentage, first in steals per game. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies, they've lost 4 straight, 7 of 8. And oh, by the way, against the 5 teams ahead of them in the West right now because they're a 6th seed, they've fallen. They're 0-4 against the Thunder, 1-3 against the Rockets, 1-1 versus the Nuggets, 1-3 against the Lakers, 1-3 against the Warriors, a combined 4-14 record against those top 5 teams in the Western Conference. The Grizzlies are going this way.
Plus, they fired their head coach late in the year, and you got to wonder, they can say anything they want. needed a change, everything else. When you bring in a new coach with 7 games to go in a regular season, that is asking an awful lot. So I think that's another
And
factor for
something's
them,
fishy
too.
about that. And John Morant, when people were trying to blame him and talking about, well, you know what? The coach is gone. He was complaining about the system or whatever. But remember, the system that was employed was by upper management. It wasn't employed by Taylor Jenkins. So maybe John Morant was talking about the folks upstairs, and Taylor Jenkins ultimately ended up being a scapegoat.
So I had Memphis hosting the Rockets maybe a little bit less than a month ago. And again, swooping in to do a national radio call, I could not tell you that this was potentially brewing. But what I will say is John Morant was out that particular game. Taylor Jenkins, for whatever did or didn't work, their system in terms of being able to play hard, defend at a high level, play through Jaren Jackson while he was healthy, was the thing this year. And so as they've navigated the injuries with John Morant, I mean, this is a big deal in terms of them getting all on the same page and finding consistency this late in the season as other teams are starting to rev up. You look at the losses that they've suffered. It's been a bunch down the stretch. Their defense continues to slide because their defense was part of why they were so successful earlier in the Western Conference. So this one, to me, they probably look like the team that teams want to see in their first round match.
Oh, they're going to be in a play-in, and I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble there. So I think Memphis is a team that we all agree probably on the way out. Golden State is a team that has got that danger quotient. They could be very tricky, and I wouldn't want to play them in a postseason series because Curry can win a series by himself because of his shooting ability.
And then you combine the Butler and the Draymond Green of it all, right? Like, playoff Jimmy, this is his time of year.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. The Warriors are very scary right now.
Hopefully Butler plays.
What?
He's missed playoff games before, Stephen.
Stop.
And he's also made playoff games before and showed up big
Doggy.
time. Watch your mouth.
I don't want to hear
Watch your
about that. I don't want to hear about Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to hear about either
him,
of you.
Molly.
Okay,
Get him.
let's talk about matchups. I see your face. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you need it. The Lakers sit in 4 in the
You all need
West,
blessings.
while the Warriors currently sit at 5. So, Monica, who should the Lakers least want to see in the first round?
The Warriors. I think, to me, that's the team that is most problematic because you've got the clash of these experienced units. And right now, that's what we're looking at. And so I think both of those teams, respectively, shouldn't want to see either. And then both of those teams are trying to avoid running into the Thunder in the second round, I should say. So, but I literally think the other night we saw the Lakers' performance versus Houston, how dynamic LeBron was, how dynamic that crew was in terms of getting high level of production from their role players. Last night, obviously, Steph is fantastic, but then you look down that roster, you get big time plays, big time minutes, I should say, from some of their guys off the bench to compensate for some of their size issues on that front line. That then becomes, I guess, the battle of the faces of the league, the battle of the two guys with probably the most experience when you look at guys that have won championships. I think the Warriors have an advantage in terms of potentially exploiting Luka, but then on the other end, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, between defending Luka and LeBron James, like that's just going to be a battle because Luka is who he is. But I just think if they run into the Warriors, that's not going to be great.
I'm going to be very interested to see if the Lakers and Denver, if they're motivated to A, get away from OKC because the 3 seed is away from them because they wouldn't have to play them in the second round, and B, are they motivated to get that 2 seed from Houston? Denver finishes the year in Houston. So if they win that game, they win the tiebreaker. Do the Nuggets care enough to get the 2 seed? They are showing you they don't. Murray didn't play last night. They didn't play Jokic on that road trip.
Yeah.
I don't know if these teams, you know the league a lot better than me. Some of these teams, for instance, another example is Milwaukee, Detroit. Are these teams going to be motivated to get seeds?